Hi everyone, I'm Karen Combs and welcome to my FlossTube number 32. It is June 1st and it's a gloomy, rainy day and I have the window open near me, which is right over here, and I may have to stop and close it if the rain comes in, but it's so humid that I just needed some cool air coming in when I was filming. So anyway, I want to welcome you. This is a video about cross stitch and stitching. I also have videos about my quilt making, but this one is focused on stitching, primarily cross stitch. So it has been 3 weeks since I taped, and I'm still trying to get in a good rhythm. 2 weeks sometimes works, 3 weeks sometimes works. So I'm gonna try to aim toward 2 to 3 weeks. But I wanted to do a couple things before I showed you. I have a finish, an unexpected finish actually. A new start, actually 2 new starts. Some haul and some other things. But I had a question about the Ort container that I showed a few weeks ago, a few videos ago, when I was showing my stitching box. And I wanted to give you a close-up. I did not make this, this was given to me. So it is a little fabric bowl. Sorry for my Band-Aid injury in the garden. So covered it up so you don't have to see it. But anyway, it is, I'm guessing, about a 3 or a 4-inch circle of 2 fabrics. Stitch them together. There is some batting in between. So you're going to put them right sides together with the batting in the middle. Stitch around, turn them inside out, and then you can finish the stitching. But the little gussets are, let me get close up. See what they are? They're just the corners pulled out and stitched. So it looks like that. And you can put those little, almost look like little decorative things right in the middle if you want, or like that. Hopefully you can see it. I'm trying to hold it still so you can see how it's done. So anyway, I wanted to show that, and you could put 2 different fabrics, you could put the same fabrics, you could machine stitch that, you could hand stitch that, but I wanted to show you. It's so clever. It was given to me years ago by a quilter in one of the quilting classes I was teaching. I don't even remember. It's been years and years and years. So if you recognize that and you gave this to me, please post in the comments so I can give you credit for that. So it folds right up. So it's perfect to put in your little box. You could make it any size. As I said, I'm guessing those circles were 3 or 4 inches to start with, but you could make it tiny, you could make it bigger. So wanted to share that. And I also wanted to thank Meryl for the beautiful card that she sent me at Nicola Parkman's workshop. I had given everybody a little goodie bag, and Meryl sent me this beautiful card thanking me, and I appreciate it so much. And you didn't know that, but I love bees, and you had a card with bees. Thank you. It touched my heart. So I want to thank you for joining me. I've got all kinds of things to share. The first thing, there is an exhibit at the DAR Museum in Washington, D.C. I would love to get up to it. I don't think I'm going to, but it started in March. It's going to the end of the year, and it's called Sewn in America. I went ahead and went online and ordered the catalog, and I'll show that to you. So if you can't get to it, you can still order the catalog. If you can get to it, you can pick up the catalog. But I ordered 2 books. I ordered the catalog about the exhibit, and also this one, Eye on Elegance, Early Quilts of Maryland and Virginia. And I will put the link. I'm hoping that's not backwards. It's showing backwards to me. I'm hoping it's not backwards to you. But this one is just filled with all kinds of quilts, early 1700s. I don't even know if they go in maybe the early 1800s. So I thought that was a beautiful book. So that's available, and I'll put the link in the description box so you can just click on it. And here is the catalog, Sewn in America, Making, Meaning, and Memory. And I've been looking through it, and I wanted to, if you don't mind, there's a couple of things that really touched me that I wanted to share with you. And in the opening introduction by the curator, Odell O'Brien, it's a wonderful essay, and I'm just going to read one little bit to you. And what's interesting is this exhibit is going to be about Sewn in America, but it's going to be about necessary needlework and also fancy needlework. Necessary needlework would be those necessary things that had to be made, clothing, things for the home, but then also what prompts beyond the necessary. And there's just one little thing, a couple little things I wanted to mention here. So the exhibit's going to be about both of those things. So the exhibit invites, hopefully you can see me, the exhibit invites the viewer, and this catalog invites the reader to ask questions to consider when looking at any product of the needle of the 18th and 19th century America. Why did women choose to sew when they did so beyond the tasks required of them? Now that's an interesting thought, because we know there was that necessary sewing. But what about the making? The making because you want to, and that's what we do, I think. I'll continue here. The author says, I suggest that the simple pleasure of exercising taste and skill and creating things pleasing to the eye is one motivation, and undoubtedly mingled with the motives and meanings behind other projects. But beyond exercising skill and creativity in this way, what meaning did women impart through their sewing? So there is a section of meaning in this catalog, which I found interesting. And I'm not going to read much more, but I did want to read this. The meaning section is divided into main themes of expressing emotions, identity, and support. Gifts of love, friendship, and gratitude are considered. A small sampling of many types of things women might make for people in their lives. Grief is considered in the catalog as well, which raises too many topics of sewing, which raise to the topics of sewing to process sorrow and trauma. And I thought that was so interesting. I wanted to read one little bit about that, because my question is, I know I've asked questions before, why do you pick what you pick to choose to work on? What draws you? What holds you? But what is it about needlework in general that draws you to it? Is it the making and you're going to use it in your home? Is it the making and you're going to give it? Is it the making when you're able to be with friends? Is it something that you're doing that you have to do? And that's where I am. I have always had to do needlework once I discovered it 50 some years ago. But I wanted to read one more little section here talking about making, whether it is making of embroidery, quilting, knitting, crocheting, as an act of self-preservation. A daily practice of needle and thread or yarn is literally a meditative practice which empties the mind of busy thoughts, generally washing away the worries of the day. Some of us find our way to stitching and making intentionally. Some of us are led by those around us who recognize we need an outlet. We can do it by ourselves. We can do it in a circle of friends. We can do it when we travel. We can do it in breaks at work. But I thought that sentence, a daily practice with needle and thread, is literally a meditative practice that empties the mind of busy thoughts. And I think for me, that is something I discovered decades and decades ago. And I remember as a teenager finding needlepoint. And from the very first stitch, you know, that repetition, I thought, I like this, I need this, I need to do this. And that's continued ever since into my quilting career with that repetition of creating, you know, putting the patches together, and same with knitting and same with stitching. I want to show you one more. This is from the catalog. There is all kinds of samplers and items, and I wanted to share this one. It's a pocketbook, Bargello. So there's so much in this book. So that's the catalog from the exhibit. I don't know if I can get up there, but if I could, my little trip would be to go up to Washington, D.C., see the exhibit, and then make my way to Williamsburg and visit Williamsburg. And I know is it Liberty Hill, new quilt shop, cross-stitch shop. I don't know if I'm going to get to do that, but if I had a little trip planned, that's what I would be doing. So my question to you is, what does stitching, what does needlework, what does making bring to you? No wrong, no right answers. It's your answer. I'm curious. Let me know. For me, it's that time that I can just focus on the stitching. I don't have to think about anything else. I can just work on that, and it just calms my mind. So let's move from that now. And a lot of stickers and stuff in my book of days for May. I don't have as much in June. I've got a few stickers. I've got to add some more, and I've got to write down what I'm working on for June. But I did have an unintentional finish. And a couple weeks ago on Instagram, I had finished one of the blocks, one of the squares in Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. And I put on Instagram, what should I do next? And I posted a couple of my whips, and I kept looking at the different whips and I just wasn't feeling it. I just didn't know what to do. So I dug in my oldest whips and I actually finished. Let me pull it out here. So this one is Flag Flock and Sheep Keep by Plum Street. And I hope you don't mind a little story before I hold this up. This is my oldest whip from when I returned to cross stitch. So it's 2 years old. And if you watched my first FlossTube, I kind of give you a history of that. But the short version is I did embroidery and needlepoint as a teenager, decades and decades ago, and then moved into cross stitch in the late 70s, early 80s when my kids were little, because it was portable and you could make little things for your home. And then started also at the same time doing quilting, and then worked toward the quilting, which became a almost 40-year career, and returned back. I also did knitting in there. And when I would travel for quilting to different guilds or shows, I would often take knitting to do in the evening or on the plane, because I needed something. I needed something, just like we talked about, to calm down, to just kind of relax. And then returned back to a little bit of embroidery, but once the pandemic hit, not in 2020, because I was doing black work then, but saw something on Instagram about cross stitch and thought, that's all new. There's some really cool designs, and look, there's hand-dyed floss and linen, and I thought, well, let me try it. And so I made an order on 123 Stitch of Flag Flock. And I don't even know how I found 123 Stitch. I think I just typed in cross stitch and it came up. And I ordered the floss, and I ordered a piece of, let me see, 36, I think, yes, 36 count Country Mocha. And I thought, I don't know, I've always done Ada. I'll try linen, but I don't know. And so I'm going to show this to you because the first sheep was what I did 2 years ago when very first thing I stitched after 40 some years. And now looking at it, it's like, ooh, stitches are kind of wonky, but I'm gonna leave them because that's where I was 2 years ago, and then the other stitches are where I am now. So here it is finished. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in a frame, which I love the frame on here, or if I'm gonna make a big pillow, I don't know. But here it is, Flag Flock. Now the sheep with the cherries, that's the one I did first. And you can see the circles aren't, or the spirals aren't defined. They're kind of wonky. The stitches are kind of wonky. But then I progressed to the other sheep, the other items, other motifs, and it's much better. So I'm gonna leave it instead of taking that out because that is my progress. So I finished that. I picked it up because I looked and I had the sheep and the cherries about done, and I had all the rest, and I thought, oh, that's gonna take me forever. And I was shocked how quick I finished it. So not only are my stitches better, I'm getting quicker with my stitching. So that was a finish. And then I pulled out, where am I gonna put this? Then I pulled out another finish I had, which I think I'll turn into a pillow. And this I did about the same time. I don't know why I love such a big margin, silly, but this will probably be a pillow. And you know, I've got all that linen, so I'll do some other things on it. But that is Old Glory from Teresa Koget's book, Broad Stripes and Bright Stars. And this book is filled with different charts. So probably on some of these, the rest of that linen, I will do some more of that. I'm not sure what that is on because I didn't write it down. Old Glory. And I think I did it on 36. I don't know. I didn't write it down. I did use the called for. But I like that kind of faded look, so I'll turn that into a pillow. So I got those, I got the one finished. And then when I finished that, I thought, I'm going to treat myself to a new start. Let me show you that. Now you've seen this because I've talked about purchasing it when I was at, well, I had the charts, but I got the linen and the floss when I was at Shepherd's Needle in Little Rock. This is Farmhouse Christmas. This is the first one. I don't know where the first one is. Well, here are all, there it is. I did the first one. And I decided to do it on 25 count Lugana. And I'm not sure the color. I think it's Country Mocha, vintage Country Mocha. I did it on 25 count Lugana because I was inspired by my friend Gail, who is doing some Teresa Koget charts on 25 count Lugana over 1. And so that's what I'm doing. Yes, 25 count vintage Country Mocha Lugana. And I have mentioned this before. I don't know if I can show the chart. I'll just flash it. real quick. There is a complimentary border for putting all of the pieces on one instead of doing pillows, and it's at Little House Needleworks. So I will try to remember to put a link. Let me write that down. If you want to do the border, I'm just gonna, for a split second, there it is. So here are the called for. I just wind them up. I think it's 2 DMC and the rest are Classic Colorworks. So here it is. It is so cute and so tiny. But I love doing over one on the Lugana. It's just, here it is. And I purchased the linen at Shepherd's Needle. They have it pre-cut, the size you need, so you could call them. You could get the charts from them and the floss, but there it is. You see, I've started the border, and there it is. So, I just love it. Just love it. Now, that little house, little farmhouse, I can tell you how many days I worked on it. 2. Maybe just 1. No, it had to be part of one day and part of another. I know I didn't do it all in one day. I just love it. So there it is. That's the start of, oh, so cute. Country Farmhouse. That one is Farmhouse Christmas. That's why I look up the name. I tend to mix things up, which is probably why I came up with so many quilt designs in my career, because I would take things and my brain would just jumble them all up, and I'd come up with, oh, look at this, and it'd be all brand new. So I worked on that, and I did pull some things that I want to work on, and I did work on some other things. Should I do that? No, I want to talk to you about some of the floss tubes that I watched, and I'm going to put the link in the description box, so you can just click on them. Jackie has a new floss tube. I did not write down. Comfort Stitching. Jackie, I think that's the name of it. It was fantastic. You've heard me talk about Jackie before. I've shared her Instagram. I will do that in the description. Jackie has returned a cross stitch just a couple years ago, and her very first project was Consider the Lilies, which she personalized. It is spectacular. So that's on her Instagram. She talks about it on her floss tube. I love her floss tube so much. So Comfort Stitching, Jackie, I'll put that in there. And then Grace, the Paisley Stitcher, interviewed her it's not conversations with a floss tuber for a day. She interviewed Sharon Moore, who, if you remember Crescent Colorworks floss, Sharon developed that and then sold it, and now is dyeing linen. It was fascinating to listen to Sharon's, how she started, her journey. I loved it. It was excellent. In fact, I've watched it once. I'm going to go back and watch it again because it's just so filled with knowledge. So that was another excellent floss tube. A new one, which you've probably heard of, is Periwinkle Stitcher. That was another one that I watched. Excellent. I enjoyed that. I think there's just one out, and I'll put all the links in the description for this. And let's see. I watched Hobbies of Holly, which she shared, and I'll put this in the link. There is an Instagram account that lists stitch-alongs, and it's cross-stitch_salander, like calendar with an S. I will put that in the link. So you can go to that Instagram page and there's all kinds of stitch-alongs or SALs listed. So if you're thinking, what was that one and who was running it, they're there. And if you're running a stitch-along, you can let them know and they will post that. So that's, Holly shared that. I also enjoyed Holly's craft room, stitching room tour. That was excellent. And the other, I watched a lot of different floss tubes, but the other one I wanted to mention was Bumble Stitches. I've watched it before, but it's been a while, and it popped up in my feed, so I subscribed so I would not forget about it. But it was excellent as well. But there was, not the last one, but the one before, I think it was 49. I did not write down the name. Let's see. She was talking about continuing making floss tubes, trying to work through, and you've probably heard several floss tubers talk about content, because it is, it's tough to find that balance of stitching and showing things, and there's only so much money for haul, and what if, you know, it's a month or 2 or 3 or 4, etc., that you can't purchase much and you only work on one thing, and what do you do for content? And you don't want to get pressured into working on things just to show. At least for me, I want to feel what I'm working. I want it to be something that I'm enjoying. And sometimes you just don't feel working on something. You switch it up. There's all those questions that I thought was a really good discussion about that, because making floss tubes, I enjoy it so much. But at times it's like, oh, what am I going to show? And so that's where I go back to talking about maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, so I have some things to show. But anyway, she's going to continue her floss tube. So am I. Hadn't thought about stopping, but those questions do come up. What do we do for content? And I kind of just am led by my heart to show you things that I find interesting, the things that I'm working on. I always like, if I find something exciting or interesting, to share it with you. So I try to do that. And I try to make notes, and I didn't do a very good job this time. Try to make notes so I don't forget. I'm just checking my notes here because I want to show you what else I've been working on. And then I pulled a few things from my stash, and then I have just a little bit of haul to show you, kind of an odd assortment. So let me show you what else I've been working on. Let's see, I showed you the finish, showed you Farmhouse, Shores. I've worked a lot on Shores, and I'm doing something different with it. So Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. Here it is, and here's a close-up. So when you purchase the chart, you get this color page that has the whole thing, and then of course the cover. I don't love every block on here, so I've struggled with that, and I'll show you what I've done, because I did work on one that I don't care for, and I changed some things, and now I love it. So what I finished, I actually one that's finished and one that's almost finished. I did have a question about block 1, the lighthouse. You can see I reversed the colors of the sun, and I had a question about that. So let me show you what I did. On the sun, the lighter color is what is in the sun face. So you can see we're in the rays, the lighter color. Well, that's in the face, but I flipped it. I did the dark color for the sun face and the rays, and then just did a few rays in the lighter color, which I think for me popped the color a great deal. And it did mean that I needed to darken the mouth. So I did have to redo that. I'm gonna, hold on, flip my light just a little bit, see if that's, getting a shadow. So that one is finished, but that's what I did on, are you kidding me? I've already lost the color page that I had right in front of me. Do you guys do that? There it is. All right, so there's the sun, how it's charted. And I flipped the colors and darkened the mouth. And then the other block, well, I've changed several. The house, I went down there and did the house. And I darkened the mortar. And I changed the color in the lettering. And I changed the door and the shutter. I don't know if we're getting a shadow on that. I might have to move my lamp. All right, so when I did the mortar, it was so dark, and I wanted the shutters and the door to pop more, so I can tell you what I changed it to. The mortar I changed to 610, and I'll hold this back up, which is kind of a green color, an olive color. The shutters I changed to 3829, which is a golden color. I kept within the floss that was called for. I didn't introduce any new colors, and here are the colors. There's these, getting a little ratty. Let's see. Boy. That, and there's quite a few colors, I think 39, 29. So that's what I changed on the house. And then the other one, I'll show you the chart, and then I totally changed it. It's this house right here. I didn't like the tree. I didn't like the 2 bird baths. I only wanted 1. I didn't like the mermaid. I didn't like the colors. And I actually thought about not doing it and putting something else in it, or doing fewer motifs or blocks or squares. But I thought, no, I'm going to change it. So here it is, and all I have left to do is fill in the house and the ocean. And I loved how it turned out. And I worked on this quite a bit because I kept changing as I was going along. So here it is. So there's a light blue in the chart that's used in the corners. I darkened that. I changed the house from white to blue. I changed the door color. I still have to put in my chimneys. I changed the bird. I did 1 bird bath, and I added a bee skip. I took the mermaid out and added a whale. I didn't like the wave color. It was kind of a red, so I changed that so it looks like sand, like a beach with sand and then the grass. So there it is. So I changed it a lot, but I like it now. Sorry for the hoop marks. I just pulled it off the hoop. So there it is. I'm not a fan of that salmon on the shrimp, but I don't think I'm going to change it because it's done. So that's what I did. Now the changes, the whale came from, remember I did Live on Little, which is at the Framers right now. So I pulled one of the whales from this chart and put it on Shores. And you can see here too on, let me get it, you can see here where the water touches kind of the sand. So that's the idea. That's where the idea of doing the sand color there came from. And the bird and the bee skip, I'll show you where those came from. So just to show you, there's the whale, there's the sand. Many of you probably know about this, but if you don't, I wanted to share it. There is a blog called Pinker and Punkin Quilting, and I'll put the link in the description. And Melissa Vandergriff is the designer of that. It's a fantastic blog. But she has charts where she has designed these beautiful little salt box houses. And so I went through the different salt box houses that she's done and different motifs and pulled a couple motifs that she has on her blog. You can download them and use them. You can't, it's her copyright, of course, but you can use it for personal use. So the bird, and then I took the bee skip and modified it, but the idea came from her. And then the bird is from her. I can't show you the chart. I love her things. I'll just hold it up and then I'll put a link. It's right there. Pinker and Punkin, and you can subscribe. Did I not hold that up long enough? Probably not. Fantastic. So she posts almost every day, and so it's nice to get in your inbox the blog, and sometimes it's about quilting, sometimes it's about stitching. She is so generous and so talented, so I wanted to credit her for the bee skip and the bird. So I worked on shores quite a bit doing that. It took a while because I'd work on a motif and then see if it fit and then decide what colors, and I did keep within all of these colors. I didn't introduce anything new. So I look forward to doing that fill-in and moving on. I love the ship. I love that one. I'm not a fan of this one. And I don't know if it's the color or the motifs. I might change that. I don't like the colors here. I just am not a cranberry fan. I do like red samplers, but I'm more cool colors when it comes to designs like this. So not quite sure how I'm gonna fix that, change it. I might add something different in. I actually thought about taking one of the blocks or one of the designs from one of the other Hawkhorn Hollow and insert that, but I haven't decided yet. So anyway, that's worked on shores. And is that all I worked on? Shores, farmhouse, flag flock. I think that's what I worked on in the 3 weeks. Let me check. No, one more. That was this morning. Oh gosh, I'm brain dead. It's like trying to remember. There's a new stitch along. Wow, and I've had coffee today. I was up really early this morning working on this. There is a new stitch along, GH 1857. And the chart, or the sampler, I just love the colors of this. Let me pull up the, love, 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 love the colors on this. So what I'm working on is 46 count Old Mushroom by XJU Designs, and my floss, my threads. Purchased the Vicki Clayton silk pack. So these are all the silks you need for the whole sampler, maybe the smalls as well, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 colors. But if you're doing everything, you need multiples of some of the colors. So those are the colors. And I was talking with Teresa of Jersey Girl Stitching, and she does the most beautiful counting pins. I love her counting pins. And we were chatting about what we were going to do and the designs and what we were going to use for linen. And I said, I really just want to do the house. And I really want to do like this big motif. And I'm not sure I want to do all the sampler. And then I'm thinking, well, I have so many big samplers right now and it's a little overwhelming. And so I want to do it because I love this design. And Teresa reminded me, which I knew this, I just kind of forgot, there's all kinds of smalls in here. Here, look, a drum, a mattress, needle book. So here's the drum, which has the motif, the big floral motif that I love. And then the house. I want to do the house. Now, before I get to that, there's an oval pin cushion and scissor fob. And then there's needle book, which is another one of the motifs that is beautiful. Here's the inside of the needle book. I didn't flash the chart. And then here's the mattress, which is the house. So that's where I've started. I'm going to do the mattress pin cushion. You can see it's got some of the border here, which I love the border. So I worked on that this morning, early, and started. I don't think I'm doing this 46 count, but I'm doing it over 2. I didn't think I was doing it over 1. I don't know why I would do that. Here it is. So I just started. I love the colors of this. So I'll be working on the mattress pin cushion. I did do just a tiny trial of the border. This was a little while ago, just to see if I liked the colors on the linen. So I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna do the whole sampler because I love the border, but I can do that in the mattress and I love those motifs. So I think I'm just gonna start with the smalls and then go from there. So those are the things that I've worked on. Oh, and the stitch along is just do your own pace. There's no deadlines, which I like. Because sometimes I feel like working on something and I'll work on it for several weeks, like I've done with shores, and then other time I'll work on something for an afternoon and it's like, move on to something else. And then I'll come back to the other thing and work on it for a bunch. So it's all over the place. Gotta go with just what feels right to stitch at the time. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why I picked what I picked. I've got just a little bit of haul, and you've seen this already. I picked this up at Nicola Parkman's workshop, Queen of the May, and she showed us this, and it was, the sample was there, the sampler was there, it was part of a lecture, and it wasn't until the end that we found out it was Queen of the May. But I picked that up. And I decided to get, I saw that Vicki Clayton had a silk pack, so I went ahead and picked up the silks. I don't have any linen chosen yet, but I do have now the silks. I got that. Some of these things I've had, and I just got the threads. That's the problem, is sometimes when I'm ready to start something and I don't have the linen or I don't have the threads, and so I decided to go ahead and pull some things and get the rest of the stuff. So Flag Flock, I enjoyed doing that, and I know I've seen several wonderful patriotic parades. The Attic just had one, Carol Saltbox did one, so many others, I think. Sully Stitches did one. I know there's others. So I pulled some of my patriotic. This is Grand Old Flag. These are Chessie and me. And I did not have the, I think, yes, I did. Here's the floss. And I purchased, so I had the floss, I had the chart, I purchased the tin roof. which I think is the called for. And Grand Old Flag is charted with silk or DMC. And so I did my own conversion. So this is looking at the chart and doing a hand-dyed conversion. And I think this will look nice on tin roof. I've got to kind of, there might be one I don't know about. I got to check. So that one I'm not sure. I got to check on that. So I'm not saying I'm going to do these right away, but I have them. All right, I'm going to keep them close. Then one of the other things I purchased, I already had this, Calling of the Sea, Stacy Nash, new at market. Love those ocean motifs. Love the whale with the flag. So I went ahead and got linen. This is 46 count, antique white. All right, it's in the bags. I've got it in the bag to keep it nice and pristine. And here's the called for. There's the called for colors. So I had the chart. I went ahead and got the colors and got the linen. So I'd have it when I'm ready to start it. Because I wanted to do a couple patriotic smalls. And that's what I'm finding when I did flag flock. I thought, I need to do some smalls. Because everything I have is so big. I need to throw some smalls in there so I have that feeling of accomplishment. Not just working on something for months and months, at least for me. That's what I'm finding is helpful. I've had this, and I know there's a stitch along for this, American Sampler House by Annie Bees. So I went ahead and got the floss, and I purchased, see how blue this is, the linen? And the called for is Dapple by Picture This Plus, which I don't know if I could find that. Did I? Let me look. No. I purchased this, which is beautiful. This is, I decided to do 40 count. This is Dwarf. But now, and I thought it was a pretty good match. It's a little darker. But now I'm concerned with the colors. I think the colors are too close. I don't know. I've got to check that out. So then I looked in my stash and I had a piece of Stormy Sky. Is that what this is? Night Sky, Stormy Sky. And the tag's not on here. And I thought, well, I do have that, and that actually might be an option instead of this. So I've got that. And then I had originally purchased biscotti for it. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know. That's pretty too. So there's some dilemma there, what I'm going to do. As far as the linen, I really like the blue linen. I'm not sure. I've got to kind of see how the colors look on it. So for that, all I did was purchase the floss. Okay, I'm going to keep these separate. This is another one that I had, but I had nothing for it. This is Chessie and Me 1864 House Sampler. And I think it calls for tin roof. It does. This one I think I purchased the tin roof from Hobby House a while ago. So here's the tin roof. And so I had the chart, I had the linen, I went ahead and got the floss. So here's the called for, which is all Gentle Arts. So there is. So that one's all set. And I think that's the called for tin roof. So that one's set. And I don't know when I'm going to start these, but now I'll have them so I can. And this one is another, which kind of patriotic feel to it. Well, Gettysburg 1862 sampler by Chessie and Me, and it calls for Vintage Cedar Plank by Lakeside. Not getting that. I don't even know where to go for that. But looking at that, well, maybe Traditional Stitches might have it, but looking at the cover, I thought, this might work. This is Stormy Night. That's what the other one was. You can see. So that's Stormy Night. So I don't have the floss for it, but I do have the linen, and I won't decide on the linen until I can put the floss on it, but at least I have those. So as far as haul, some of that was just thread, but putting things together, getting kits ready. I also pulled from my stash, and you probably all know these books. Amazing, Sweet Land of Liberty, Blackbird. Look at all of the beautiful designs. So if you're looking for patriotic, that's got 5 projects in it, and then their Souvenirs of Summer has 6. Let me show you the front. So I purchased those a while ago and thought, oh, I know Brenda and the Serial Starter, she mentioned when you have a book like this, I think she does this and mentioned other people have found it helpful, is go into the book. Let me see if I can do this without showing the chart. Go into the book and get the colors and put them all in a ring and put them with the book. And I thought, I need to do that. I need to see what colors I need. So then I have it. So I think, well, I haven't checked what linens are needed, but those 2 books, I need to pull some things from those and do some patriotic smalls. And then the last thing I have to share with you is a few of these things I had, and I did purchase a couple. I had this one. I think these are all Chessie and Me. This is Sheepish Manor, and these little kits come with the chart, the linen, and the silk, and a needle. It's all there. So that one I've had for a while, and I thought that would be nice in a dough bowl with summer things or patriotic things. And then I did pick up a couple of little kits. I picked up American Coast. I love the sailboat. This just reminds me of northern Michigan, where my parents used to live. So they'd probably still be living there if they were living, but they're both gone now. This is 1776 Harbor. Love that. These are all patriotic. This is Summer Liberty. Love the house, love the flag, love the vine coming out of the vase. And long may she wave. And the last one I have is Whale Watch, and I'm going to show you what's in the kit. So here's Whale Watch. These are all Chessie and Me. I love that. So you've got the chart, which I'm not going to open, but you've got the chart, and there's 2 pages in here. The chart is nice and clear, you can see it. And then there's the color legend. This one does have Smyrna Cross. So you've got the instructions, the design. Then you've got, here's the linen with a needle. And this one is kitted with Gloriana silk. So there it is. So I thought these are just really nice little kits because they're all there. And if you've wanted to do silk and haven't done it, or thought, I don't want to make a big purchase, this is a perfect way to do it, because now you've got the silk. You can give it a try, and it doesn't have a huge investment. So I think that's it. Let me check my notes here. I will put links to the FlossTubes, to the Instagram, and yes, I missed one thing. Talking about, I'll put the links to all those things in the description. Talking about Pinker and Pumpkin. If you go to, and I think she has an Instagram account as well, but if you go to Instagram, if you're on there, and Bettina_cross-stitch. Many of you know her beautiful account. She's always posting just beautiful pictures. She just posted a dough bowl filled with some of the salt box designs from Pinker and Pumpkin quilting. Let me get it right so you can see. So I will put the link to that. I thought that is so serendipitous. I saw that this morning, and I thought I'm going to talk about Pinker and Pumpkin, and there Bettina has this beautiful little dough bowl filled with Melissa's designs. Love it. So put all the links in there. I think that's it. I'll be back probably 2 to 3 weeks again. If I have a whole bunch to show, I'll be back sooner, but if I'm, slogging away on one thing, it might be further. 2 to 3 weeks. I'll be back, and I appreciate you so much, viewers, watching, commenting, hitting the like button, that thumbs up button. I appreciate it more than you know. And I also appreciate all those floss tubers out there, because without them, what would we be watching? And I know other floss tubers have talked about it's a labor of love. It does take some time, but it is a labor of love, and I appreciate all those that do it. I remember when I first returned back to cross stitch several years ago, and it was a whole new world to me. I didn't even know about needle minders or whips or all these terms and designers, and watching Brenda and Laura, I ended up watching all of their floss tubes with a notebook. It was like a master class in cross stitch, because I was writing down designers, I was writing down shops, I was writing down designers. I think I already said that. Just all the different things, the linen, the floss, and Carol Saltbox, same thing. Thank you for that, because there are people returning back to cross stitch. It's a whole new world, and you gave us the tools so we could get up to speed. Thank you for that. And thank you for watching. I'll be back, and I said it again, so now I'm rambling, so now I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. I will see you in a few weeks, and I should have my Live on Little framed to show you then. And who knows what I'll be working on. So see you in a few weeks. Have a great weekend.